Inside Disc Golf.
Welcome to Inside Disc Golf. Today I have a very special guest with me. He started his PDGA career in 1984, and he's still at it today at the top level, over 1,000 rated, two-time runner-up at the PDGA World Championships, two-time mixed doubles world champion, Scott Stokely. Scott, how are you?
Thank you. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Very welcome. It's an honor to speak to you. You're a true legend of the game, and I really appreciate you making time to do the show with me.
Yeah, legend just means I'm old.
Yeah, but still an incredibly great player. I mean, how do you manage to continue to play at that high level?
Honestly, I take better care of my body now than probably any person on tour. I'm so focused on diet and exercise and health, because you have to be when you're older. I mean, you should be focused on all these things when you're younger, but I mean, honestly, you could get away with a lot when you're in your 20s, including being a very high-level athlete without doing everything right. That doesn't work when you're 53 years old. Like every little thing crushes you. So I focus really hard. I'm very active in the gym, and my diet, everything.
Amazing. Let's do for the people who don't know a whole, like for our viewers who don't know a whole lot about you. Let's go back and just do a little bit of I guess you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up and how you discovered frisbees and disc golf.
Yeah, sure. So I played my first round of frisbee golf back then on the world's first permanent frisbee golf course, when it was the only course in the entire world. So I was actually there at the beginning of at least of the permanent course. They had played frisbee golf at tournaments before then, but a permanent course had not been established until 75, 76. I started playing because when I was 7 years old, my dad died. And when my dad died, my mom would take me to all the local parks in the area, and they all had different things about those parks that I liked, and one of them had a frisbee golf course, and no idea that this was unique or special. It was just something that park had that you did in that park. I'd come to find out later that at that time it was the only course in the world. But that's when I started, and I in hindsight, so I wrote my autobiography, Scott Stokely, Growing Up Disc Golf. And in hindsight, I've come to realize that I was probably seeking out a father figure, because I never had a dad growing up. But the sport was filled with the vast majority of the players were adult men. And so I probably gravitated in towards that for that reason as well. It's hard to remember. It was many years ago, but I think that was related.
Yeah, so you've been around since really the very beginning. You're a direct lineage, and a keeper of the torch, like a real cultural icon. And the history is all with you. So I guess you have so much to teach and share, and it's really cool that you're making all that effort to be such a big part of the game still.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I'm not an OG. Like, people call me an OG. I don't like that term. I'm not an original. There was an entire generation of frisbee athletes that came before me.
Sure.
So what I am a bridge between the OGs and the modern game. But I mean, they were playing competitive frisbee since the late 50s up in Michigan, and the IFA was around in the early 70s. Like, this was, half a decade before I ever touched a frisbee.
Right. So,
but I try. I am trying to be the biggest sports historian, though. I do take that. I wear that as a badge of honor. Like, I know the people in the stories that I tell.
Yeah, that's really cool. Do you know or remember, like, what is it about disc golf that makes you want to dedicate your life to it in the way that you have?
It's a lot of things. I mean, the biggest thing is that it's my family. I didn't have a family growing up. I had a mom. and now I have a daughter. I've got my best friend Randy Lom and my girlfriend who travels with me. Those are like, they're like family, obviously, but I don't have a family. My family is the Frisbee family, the Frisbee community all over the world. I got so many people that I could knock on their door tomorrow and have a place to stay and probably live the following day. I have, people that I love who love me. So like the number one thing is the people and the family. But the other thing is and it's not that I don't enjoy the game. I obviously love playing, as much as anyone who's ever done it. But even bigger than the enjoyment of the game is the life that I'm able to live because of the game. I am, and my girlfriend and I, we're full-time nomads. We don't have a home. We're never going to have a home. We don't have a storage unit. We don't have a home base. Every single thing we own in this world, and I mean everything, is in our car right now. And we just travel. And it was in the US. Now I'm traveling the world for the next, I don't know how many years I'll be traveling the world playing disc golf. But the life of being able to be on the road is like, I'm not happy if I'm not traveling and on the road. I'm not happy in a house. And so a big part of the game, as much as I love it, is just that I figured out how to make a living at this thing that allows me to live the way I want to live. That's huge to me.
So cool. And it's a beautiful family. The Frisbee family is some of the best people, I think, on earth. And they really, really take care of each other.
Absolutely. And most of them are still with us. It's sad because I'm 53 years old, and it's a generation that came before me. And, we're getting to a point now where we're going to start losing these pioneers. And, a big thing I want to promote is the idea is that we need to take advantage of them while they're here, take advantage of the time we have with them. Because the stories they can tell about playing Frisbee in the 70s and the 60s, some of them, like, we don't have those, it's never going to be that way again. It's romanticized, and it should be. It's a beautiful time in our sports history. Our origin story is so neat, way cooler than Wolverine or like some Avenger, right? I mean, our origin story is the best. It was very counterculture. It was made up of a group of misfits who, to a large extent, a lot of them didn't fit in anywhere else. And they kind of came together for this one love, and it's beautiful. And so we still have these people with us. We need to, take the time to spend with them and listen to them.
Totally agree. Super valuable.
By the way, there's one in Finland. Is Seppo still around?
Seppo Paju? Or no?
No. Niemen, I think his name is Seppo Niemen. I might be getting it wrong.
Okay.
He was around in the 70s. He's a Finnish player that was around I believe he was around from the very beginning. I'm sure he's not the only one, but he's the one that I know. I mean, I quote, no, I don't know him well, but
sure.
I don't know him well enough to pronounce his name right, but I know well enough to know him.
Yeah, I guess I'm pretty new to the sport myself. I discovered it here in Finland, even though I grew up in the States, like less than 10 years ago, and only even realized there was a competitive scene and rules and stuff like that, 6 or 7 years ago. So this is my first year working in disc golf media, so I'm quite new to the game in a lot of ways, but very passionate about it as well. Yeah, and sorry, I didn't hear the question.
I just said wonderful.
Oh yeah. But I studied cultural anthropology, so I am very interested in trying to preserve these life history interviews of the pioneers of the sport. So I guess I have a lot of work to do, and I'm very excited to do that.
Awesome. I love it.
So yeah, you're in Australia at the moment. Tell me a little bit about how it's going there.
It's going amazing. I mean, we're doing 6 weeks here. It's one tournament. Well, we played the Australian National Championships, and then I'm playing a 1 day at a kind of it's Australian Disc Golf Day. It's a fun day, but I'm doing 8 clinics around the country teaching disc golf. a big part of what I'm doing is just promoting. In fact, I had to cancel our interview yesterday because I was live on Australian radio promoting disc golf. They asked me, but to be on their show live, so I couldn't. It wasn't flexible. But the idea is that I'm just trying to promote disc golf around the world. I mean, disc golf is doing just fine in the U.S. It's doing just fine in Finland. Like, it's not like nothing I do there. Like, I can't do anything in Finland to make disc golf better in Finland. I mean, Finland's crushing, but I can do a lot to make disc golf better in Cambodia. I'm going to be in Cambodia next. There's places I can act, and I'm going to try to do that.
Yeah.
I just want to promote the game around. I've already done the U.S. It's time to be global.
That's great. That's a wonderful thing. So you're going to be heading to Southeast Asia in the early part of the next season. And,
in about I'm going to be in New Zealand in a couple of weeks. I'll be there for a month, and then I'm going to be in Southeast Asia for like 4 months. We're going to Singapore, doing clinics. Then I'll be playing a tournament and clinics in Malaysia, tournament and clinics in Thailand, tournament and clinics in Cambodia, and then to Japan. Might not be playing a tournament there, but doing some clinics, and then off to the Euro Tour, which I need to do the Euro Tour because I got to fund I got to fund my winters. So I still got to be active in the disc golf scene. So like I said, I'll be doing a lot of things, hopefully, to promote disc golf in places like Germany and places where they're still trying to get it to take hold. I just got asked by a company to do they're going to do a documentary about my visit to Germany.
Great.
So it's and this is just great. It's just a great way to expose to promote the sport. But I'm just having some time in my life.
Wonderful. Yeah, I got your events that you're signed up for here. I see that you're going to be in Thailand for the Samui Swine. There's also a really great event the weekend before that event on the south side of the same island. If you're there earlier, I would recommend the Heisen Brownie.
Is that one? I think I'm doing 2 in Thailand, right? Yeah, I am doing 2 tournaments in Thailand, so I might be at that one. But there's also a tournament in Malaysia that might be the weekend before. I don't know. It's it's all confusing.
Yeah.
I almost don't even look. I'll be in Ballarat later today. I know that, and that's about. Like, I set my schedule, but then I don't even think about all the places. It's overwhelming.
Just take it one day at a time and enjoy your life on the road. That's
in Melbourne and Geelong, Tasmania.
Beautiful journey, yeah, for sure. But that course is really great, and I think it's really, really beautiful. It's on the south side of the island, much more peaceful. It's the number 1 9-hole course in the world. It might only be like a C or a B tier, but Philo Brathwaite has won it 3 times, and there's been like a lot of American pros have come and enjoyed it a lot, and it's a really really cool vibe there. But yeah, we're really excited to get you here on the European Pro Tour as well. That's kind of the main reason that I was reached out to you to come onto the show. You're going to be touring very extensively in Europe, and what is the perspective about the European Pro Tour and Disc Golf Stream in America, like in the States? Are people that aware of it, or I guess just tell me what you know and what you think about it.
So I don't know much about it in the sense that I've never been there, so I only know what I've read. It's just another tour, right? Like, touring is not the Disc Golf Pro Tour. The Disc Golf Pro Tour is a tour. It's not the tour. The tour implies there's one tour. That's stupid. There's lots of tours out there. Sweden has a tour. Finland has a tour. There's the European Pro Tour. There's the Euro Tour. There's the Disc Golf Pro Tour. But in addition to all those things, if you look at a map and go to the PDGA website, and then you just pick a bunch of events in the places you want to go, that's also a tour.
So
like,
true.
It doesn't have to be. I did that for years. The last 2 years traveling, I didn't do the Disc Golf Pro Tour. I just traveled to places I want to go. So I'll be doing a Southeast Asian tour. It's a tour. So that I'm excited about it. The thing is I just want. We're nomads. We live for the next experience. We don't own stuff. We just do things. And I've done the U.S. I love the U.S. I've seen it. Like, I just like we've been to all these places. I've been to 49 states, and not just like driving through, but spent time in the 49 states. And it's like I needed to go someplace new. I can't keep going back to the same places. It just kills me. And there's always new places in the U.S. U.S. is really big, you know this, but it's still. I just needed to go someplace else. So Europe is just a chance to experience all these different places. I mean, I'll be going in Sweden, Norway, Finland, Estonia, Germany, Czech Republic, Switzerland, Spain, Belgium, Denmark. I think those are the countries I'm competing in. I'm going to miss out on Croatia. I'm going to miss out on Austria. I'm going to miss out on some of the places, but I will be back. So it's not like I won't go to those places. They don't fit into this year's schedule. But I just want to go new places. I mean, at the end of next season, I want to go to India and Africa for the winter. There's tournaments in Africa. Like, I want to go play tournaments in Africa. I don't care if there's 7 people there. It doesn't matter. I don't care about the money. I want to go play a tournament in Africa. Like, that's cool to me. And then hopefully help promote the sport down there.
For sure, you're a really valuable resource to the global community, and disc golf is booming in many places, and yeah, it's a great, big, beautiful world. So why not go check it out? You know, I'm really inspired by what you're doing, and really happy that you're on that journey.
Fun, me too.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of one of the places that I really fell in love with the game was in Thailand, playing there. My first exposure to real like professional level disc golf was at the European Open in 2017. I just went to watch. I'd been playing really casual disc golf, you know, maybe once a month or something like that. I had 3 young kids at home, and it was just kind of a way for me to sort of kind of have something of my own to get away and just like, you know, get close to nature and meet up with some friends. And so I had like a really slow kind of very casual introduction into the game. And then all of a sudden I was there at the European Open, my first ever watching professionals play, or even like anybody that was like really very good. And there was that really great battle between Greg Barsby and Paul Macbeth, and then I got to meet some of the guys there after, and it really just kind of just blew my mind wide open that this is a real thing that's going on, that people are doing this for a living and they're traveling around, and I kind of couldn't really believe it, and then after that I just started paying more attention to what was happening. I started watching disc golf media on the internet. Before that, I hadn't watched any events or anything. So, yeah, it's been pretty wild, and really a beautiful game.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah. So you're going to be in New Zealand as well. That sounds like a lot of fun, and one of the most beautiful places in the world, perhaps.
Yeah, we're only going for a month though, but I'm doing 6 clinics, no tournaments, just 6 clinics. But a month doesn't seem like enough time to go there. Like, we'll have to go back. We won't see anything. I mean, not nothing, but not the way we like to travel. Like, we like to see everything.
Yeah, for sure. And our main partners for media production is MDG Media. They're like they are the top media producers in Europe, kind of like the Jomez of Europe or something like that equivalent. And they're going to be in New Zealand, I think, around that same time. So hopefully you get a chance to meet up with those guys.
I've been talking to them, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Hopefully you're going to do some projects while over in Europe.
Great. Yeah, they're really great guys, and they do a fantastic job with the media and everything. So
great.
Some good collaborations. Can we talk a little bit about some of these great battles that you've been in, like with Ken Climo at the World Championships and stuff like this? What can you share about those experiences?
Well, I mean, it's hard to call it a battle if I usually got beat. Oh, hello. Hold on 1 second. Oh, maybe 30. Is that okay? Is 30 okay? Yeah, it's okay. Okay, thank you so much. we're at an Airbnb out in well, Australia. Where are we in Australia? Hamilton, Australia. So sorry about the interruption.
No
That's
worries,
just
no
the
worries.
nature of this.
Of course.
No, I mean the battles. I mean, he beat everybody. That's just what happened. That's just, he was Michael Jordan in the '90s, basically, and so he just won. But I got to finish second a lot. It's one of those things, like when I look back at it, I'm proud of finishing second at the World Championships, several times. At the time I cried a lot and it was horrible. I mean, it was very hard to live with, but in hindsight, I'm fine with it. I won a whole bunch of other titles as well. I never got over that hump at Open Pro Worlds, but I won 17 other world and national titles. National pairs champion 4 times, 2-time world pairs champion, all world and national distance champion. So I'm, I don't focus on those losses. I focus on the wins. It makes me a lot happier.
Of course, you have a incredibly successful, distinguished career.
Yeah, I got no complaints. I'm leading a very great life. So. 0 complaints.
I guess you're really well known for being maybe the first or one of the first players to have a really useful sidearm game. Is that true?
Yeah. If you go watch a video from like the '80s or the '90s, you're going to see one player in the world throwing sidearm at a competitive level. Me. They called it a trick shot back then. I didn't invent the throw by any stretch. I mean, it's not like I made the throw up, but nobody was using that throw. And it made no sense whatsoever because everybody was throwing anhyzers on sidearm holes, clear sidearm holes. No one had that throw. And so it was so obvious. I mean, when I was a little kid, it was obvious that you need to be able to spin the disc both directions to have the best chance of success on every hole. I mean, it's just physics. Anhyzers are more difficult and require more precision than hyzers. That's it. There are shots you can't even get to with an anhyzer. So back in the '90s, players would always talk about, oh, this is a lefty course or these are lefty holes. So it doesn't make any sense. They're just sidearms, So I went around and promoting the idea that you're going to have a sidearm someday. The only reason players don't have a sidearm back then is that no one else did either. So you could get away with not having one. But I told everybody that was going to change, and it obviously has. I've always been 50-50. Just throw the best shot for every hole. Like, that's what you should always do. We should never be a dominant one or the other.
Way ahead of your time in that regard, absolutely. And
and this is why I teach a 6-month online class. It's called Become a Complete Disc Golfer. And you can read about it at scottstokely.net. You can sign up there. It's 6 months. It's all online. By the way, it's not like a bunch of videos you watch and then do stuff. I mean, that's YouTube. It's a live interactive. There's live classes. If you miss the live classes, you're on Discord. You're presenting. There's an unlimited number of form reviews you get as part of the class. So you're posting videos of yourself throwing, participating in drills and steps. I mean, this is a method I developed for teaching disc golf. But it's called Become a Complete Disc Golfer because you got to have all the shots. So like when you take my class, you're going to be able to throw everything. You're also going to throw thumbers and tomahawks, scoobers, and grenades. You're gonna throw everything because certain shots call for certain throws. And if you don't have that throw, then you're throwing a more difficult shot. There's no reason why you should be throwing a more difficult shot.
For sure.
So critical. So yeah, scottstokely.net. If it's interested in my 6-month class, I have tons of Europeans that are in the class as well.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, make sure you go sign up for that. And
and by the way, you mentioned Greg Barsby earlier. He's one of the people that came to my clinics when he was 11 years old.
Okay.
So he's on a list with Garrett Gerthy and Nate Sexton and a bunch of David Wiggins, a bunch of people that came to my clinics as kids.
So you've inspired and helped form some of the champions of today and even the
I
future.
will take as credit as I'll take as much credit as my marketing team will allow me to take. You
Right.
know, I mean, I don't want to take credit that I don't deserve, but I was one of the people, like back in the 90s when they came to my clinics, I was throwing backhands 100 feet farther than anyone else in the world. I was throwing sidearms 150 feet farther than anyone else in the world. No, sorry. I was throwing backhands 100 feet farther than any of the other players on tour. There were some distance throwers who were my peers who threw very far, but as far as the competitive touring players, it was 100 feet. It was 30 to 40 meters farther on backhands and 50 meters farther on sidearms than anyone out there on tour. So I'm sure I influenced people who were like, "Well, I kind of want to throw farther." What's he doing?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a huge legacy, and it's very admirable that you're willing to share all that knowledge with the Frisbee
Or some
family.
way to better. I can't stand when people don't throw right.
Yeah, that's great. Um, what what can you tell us about the changes in the disc technology, like during your lifetime?
I mean, well, when I started playing, there weren't golf discs. There weren't even heavy whammo midnight flyer frisbees. I mean, the frisbee that you bought at the grocery store is what you played with at the World Championships. Like
Just a catch disc.
that's what we. Yes, a catch disc. Not even a heavyweight catch disc. Whammo made the first competitive discs. Well, they released their pro line, which is maybe better aerodynamic discs than the traditional, than like the really bad frisbees, the Humphrey Flyers of the world, the really bad ones. But they're the first ones to make competitive discs when they wanted to make their discs heavier. So that's what the Midnight Flyers, the ones that look like frisbees, but they all glow in the dark. They have a number on the front, either 1 through 9. That's just a frisbee that was in a store that they added weight to it to make it heavier. Those were the first discs, and then the first company to make discs just for disc golf, specific to disc golf, was a company called Destiny Discs. They later became Dynamic Discs. Not the dynamic discs we know today, but the original Dynamic Discs. Discraft had been around longer than Destiny Discs, but Discraft was producing, they weren't producing specifically just golf discs. So the first golf discs were the Super Puppy, the Bullet, the Laser, the Long Ranger, the Dimple discs. Other than the Puppy, you probably never heard of. Those were being produced in the early 80s. And then in 1983, the big paradigm shift happened when Innova obviously put out the first commercially successful beveled edge disc, which was the Eagle, not the Eagle that you would buy in the store today, but the original Eagle. That's when the shift happened. That's when everybody could throw 30% farther than they could yesterday. Like everyone in the world could throw 30% farther in a day. The world changed.
Yeah, for sure. And how about like with the sidearm? I mean, I guess the disc got more and more overstable as the time went on, and like you were just throwing them on a crazy hyzer, or how did it go?
You just had to throw them with hyzer. It's no problem throwing an understable disc sidearm. I throw them all the time. It's throwing overstable discs as your only sidearm would be like only throwing backhands with overstable discs. Like that doesn't make sense. There's like you need to have a full range of flight paths on a hole, so you need to be able to throw every disc in your bag, backhand and sidearm. Like there's no such thing as a sidearm disc. I mean, having a disc in your bag that's your sidearm disc would be the same as having one disc in your bag for backhands. Which obviously, like you have a whole bag full of discs for your backhands. You got sharp turns, slow turns, long holes, short holes, S turns, hyzer flips, straight shots, approaches, drives, So every disc in your bag that you throw backhand, you will throw sidearm because all you're doing is reversing the spin of the disc, creating a mirror image of the flight. There can be, that isn't necessarily 100% true because you might not grip one of the discs as well sidearm as backhand. So you might not throw that exact disc, but you would throw a disc with the same flight characteristics. You would, if you had a destroyer in your bag, then you need a disc that flies like a destroyer for your sidearm as well. And so yeah, I grew up throwing all those, but I mean, you can throw a frisbee from a store with full speed. I can throw it full speed with enough hyzer that it'll still fly. It's not going to flip over on me because it's just a skill that you can learn.
Just mastering the angles, I guess, right?
Yeah, just the angle and making sure it's not wobbly, making sure it has enough snap, enough spin. But yeah, so when I started throwing, you're right, though, that everything was understable. I mean, 100% of the original Whammo frisbees were understable. 100%. The super puppies were dead stable. They threw perfectly straight. And then the early Innova discs and the early Discraft discs were all understable. The first overstable beveled edge golf disc to come out was the Phoenix, which was like 1988, 89, somewhere around there. And it wasn't the best disc, but it was the first overstable disc. The company that perfected the overstable disc, I say perfected, they all got better, but the first truly successful overstable disc was the Viper. When the Viper came out, that changed everything. You know, discs had been out before that were overstable, the Wedge, the Phoenix, but the Viper was the one that was a true flying disc, pure flying. Then the Whippet came out, then the X-Clone came out from Discraft, and then from there, I don't think they make any of those discs anymore because they've gotten better. Now you have Firebirds and Felons and Ballista Pros and Forces, right? And now they're better, but that's was the start of it. Was the Phoenix and then eventually the Viper from Innova.
Yeah, and they've just evolved and gotten better and better.
Yeah, I mean, some discs are still around. I do my long putts with the Wizard, and the Wizard has been around for a long time, and it's still one of the most, if not the most popular putter out there.
That's what I putt with.
I mean, do you? Okay, yeah. Putters and approach discs have not evolved much. I mean, the Rock, the AVR is basically what every single mid-range and every single approach disc is. You know, it's kind of a running joke, but it's the truth, is that most discs today are basically original Innova discs that you've either modified or copied. But basically every putter, I mean, this is just a beaded AVR. I mean, I know it's not identical, but it's a beaded AVR. You know, a straight flying mid-range disc is just a Rock, a modified Rock. So actually, Innova was, and Dave Dunn-Pace was the ones that actually made these discs. Like, they were the first to get it right with each of these discs. Even the Destroyer, to this day, it might not be your favorite high-speed driver, the Destroyer, but everything is kind of like trying to be a Destroyer. Destroyers, they kind of perfected it. And then so even if they've improved upon it, you're paying homage to the Destroyer when you make your high-speed driver.
Right. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about your fundraisings for charity. I think that's really remarkable and admirable that you've been donating lots of your winnings to charity, and just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've been doing that for the past couple of years. I'm an amateur. I don't play for money. My prize money, all my prize money gets donated to a local autism or special needs organization. The only money I've kept in the last 2 years, and I did it because I promised the tournament director that he made me promise that if I won it, I'd keep it, is when I won the Big Skins match. There was a bonus money. I kept the bonus money, but he made me promise before the tournament that if I won the bonus money, I would keep it, because he's seen me, sleep in my car at rest areas to get to the next tournament. Like, he's seen me poor for many years, so he was just looking out for me. So I was like, whatever, I'll keep that if I win it. I didn't think I was going to win. But aside from that, 100% of my money the last several years has gone to special needs organizations. It still is. My prize money from the Australian Championships went to Down syndrome of Western Australia. All my prize money that I win in the European Tour is going to go to a local charity, local autism organization. I don't know, it's something I just like to do. I don't need the money. I mean, I do. We all need money, but I do well with my teaching. And since I do well with my teaching, I don't need the prize money. So if I can use it to help out a local organization, it helps promote the sport because it's great press for the sport locally. You know, it's just everyone wins. Makes me feel good.
So wonderful to hear. That's such an unselfish approach to life. And yeah, I mean,
I have enough. I don't own things. I don't, aside from, I mean, we, even when we travel, because my tour clothing is going to be going straight to Europe. We're going to be traveling with 2 backpacks. We're not going to own anything except the clothing on our back and our laptops and our phones, and then a couple golf discs. I don't need anything else. I'm never going to need anything else. So since I don't need stuff, then all I need is as much money as I need to live and do the things I want to do. And I mean, I'm way too old to sleep on, I'm not going to be at hostels. I mean, I do well enough where we can stay at decent places and eat decent meals. So I'm not struggling. I'm not a martyr. But once I have good meals and I'm staying at a decent place and I can afford the airline ticket to the next location, I don't need anything else. So there's people that need it more than me. Real quick, we should start packing up. They're going to be kicking us out of here in just a minute. I hate to do this to you.
No worries.
But
no
we
worries.
got delayed early. They need to get ready for the next guest. She knocked on. That's when she knocked on her door, and I was like 30 minutes, and she smiled, but I could tell she wasn't really smiling.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we'll try to wrap it up as quick as we can here. But that's so cool to hear, and so wonderful that you're getting to live the life that you want, but also get to improve the lives of others in so many ways with all of your donations, and just
it's fun. I'll probably always do. I don't think I'll ever take prize money again the rest of my life, unless I need it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a martyr. If I needed money to eat, I'm not going to give my prize money away. I would take that money and buy food. But hopefully, I'm not going to be in that position where I need it ever again. I don't think I will. I think I'm doing pretty well.
That's great. Is there anything our viewers can do to help support you in your journey to help?
No, well, yeah, ScottStokely.net. I have a store with tons of merchandise for sale. When you buy stuff from me, I don't give that, that's not charity. When you buy off my website, I keep that money. That's how I live. But that's what allows me to do these other things, go to Africa and teach disc golf. All my clinics I'm doing in Southeast Asia, unless I do some in Singapore, but all my clinics there are basically going to be free. I mean, I make money over here so I can give it away and do the cool stuff over here. So anytime you spend money with me, I don't take donations. You can't just PayPal me money. I don't take donations. But if you sign up for my online class at ScottStokely.net, if you go to my store to buy stuff, if even if you come to one of the seminars being run all over the U.S. by Philip Bartholomew and Jonathan Nicholson, teaching the Stokely method seminars, ultimately that money, other than what it costs to pay for our hotel and our airline ticket, everything else is going to wind up someplace good. So I mean, it all it's I don't take direct donations, but it all ties into what I think is doing some pretty good stuff. Sounds
like a great model, and I can really, I think, inspire a lot of people for how to be a better person, and help to make the world a better place. And really, really wonderful to hear all of that. And we're really looking forward to having you here on the European Pro Tour, and it's gonna be great. Yeah, we'll be excited to feature you on Disc Golf Stream. I'll be doing the commentary, so hopefully we'll get to have you on the feature card and lead cards. And I would love that. I'll be on some lead cards and hopefully some feature cards. That would be nice, but I'll try to be on some lead cards with my scores as well. Of course, yeah. I'm 90, so I still got a little bit left in the tank. Definitely. So, yeah, we'll let you get on with your day and get their room cleaned up. But thank you so much. All right, man. Thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck on your worldwide journey. Have a great holidays, and I guess
thank you so much.
Enjoy every day and every moment of it, and we'll look forward to seeing you here in Europe.
I can't wait, man. Thank you so much for the interview. Appreciate it. Thanks. Bye, everybody.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, see ya.
Bye. So that's it for this episode of Inside Disc Golf. Wonderful to talk to the living legend, Scott Stokely. I'm Andrew Gum here, and we'll see you next time.
Inside Disc Golf, the European Disc Golf Podcast.